All right, it's that time again, guys. We're going back 3 years for the Covrprice Top 10. All right, guys, we're going to get into this top 10 list from 3 years ago. Before we do, you know what to do with all the social media. Also, check the description down below. There's discount codes everywhere. And I try to tell everybody, the only discount code that I get money on is the Whatnot code. You get $10 off, I get $10 off. But the Mutant Beaver comics, and more importantly, the Covrprice discount code down below, I don't get anything. It's literally for you guys. Try this thing out. It's amazing. Speaking of Covrprice, this list comes to us from our friends over at Covrprice, as well as the write-up. Focusing on their top 10, they reflect on what the trends were 3 years ago. I'll take you through how each title sales compare from 3 years ago's market value to today's current values. How did these comics do? What had a boost and what had a bust? And what better way to start than at number 10? This is War of the Realms, New Agents of Atlas, number 2. This is the Stonehouse variant. 3 years ago, War of the Realms, New Agents of Atlas, number 1 and 2 were the hottest books on the comic shelves due to numerous first appearances. This specific issue featured the first full appearance of Swordmaster, a popular new character that fans were excited about and speculated on. After Swordmaster's first cover appearance on issue number 1, this was very anticipated and immediately hot out of the gate, with a high raw sale of $133. And a few weeks later at $300 for a 9.8. 3 years later, this variant is still hot and currently sells for about $250 for a near mint raw, $490 for a CGC 9.8. However, it's worth noting that in March of 2022, the year the crazy high sales, a 9.8 sold for its highest track sale of $1,500. However, 3 years later, this is still a boost. And it's important to note that while it's down from the all-time high, if you invested in this FOMO book of the week, you're doing very well 3 years later. And it still has plenty of potential with the rumors of Swordmaster's possible introduction into the MCU and still currently Marvel Comics' Iron Fist. He remains as one of the most speculated newer Marvel characters. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I have a stack of these. Not the variant, but the actual cover A. I also have New Agents of Atlas number 1s I've been sitting on. Again, tons of first appearances. That's really what this book is about. And pretty good characters. With that, let's get to number 9. This is Captain America number 275. Features the first appearance of the second Baron Zemo, who appeared in the Falcon Winter Soldier Disney Plus series. It trended at $15 for a near mint raw and had a high sale of $99 for a 9.8. 3 years later, Zemo is still around and in many ways just getting started amidst rumors that he will be the main villain in MCU's Thunderbolts film. While this book never went crazy in value, it's gone up a bit in a near mint raw value to $21 and doubled in price for a 9.8 at $200. Guys, we're 2 for 2 on boosts from 3 years ago, which is just about when the craze was just starting. Think about it. We're going back to 2020, right? 21, 22, 23. Right. 2020. It was just about when things were starting to get crazy. So you're right there on the cusp. And these were 2 for 2 with boosts. This is a great book. People sleep on this book all the time. Let's get to number 8. This is War of the Realms, New Agents of Atlas, number 1. It features so many new characters that 3 years ago, collectors had to get a copy of this with tons of FOMO and were willing to pay a little more for it. It featured the first appearances of Luna, Snow, Wave, Crescent, and Lo, the first U.S. appearance of Arrow, and the first cover appearance of Swordmaster in cameo there. It had a high raw sale of $11, and a few weeks later, a CGC 9.8 sold for $70. 3 years later, this is still a popular book amongst collectible and big book. Wait. Hold on. It's still a popular book amongst collectible and a big book that speculators are stockpiling. This is true. Not only are several of these new characters popular in the Marvel comic world, they have plenty of potential to appear in the MCU in the near future. Yet while there was a boost for a near mint raw at $30, 9.8s fell a bit to $63. Though during COVID, the heat around this key issue pushed it to its all-time high of $350 for 9.8. Can it reach that again? Yes, it can. This is a fantastic book to pick up at the current prices. Even without content, Luna and Snow are very popular with a growing fan base. I'm holding on to mine, and when I do find these in collections, I sit on them. I mean, the only thing about this book is you got to realize there's a ton of copies out there. There's a lot of number 1s, and I imagine the number 2 print run is lower, just because that's the way things go. For a multiple first appearance, 9.8 to be under $75. It doesn't hurt to take a stab at one or two, maybe. But hey, this is what I usually say in these videos, and I mean it. Don't do what I say. Do your own research. Do your due diligence. Take what I say with a grain of salt and read up on all of this. Please do not do what I say. Use it as a little bit of information. Let's go to number 7. This is Bone Parish number 1. 3 years ago, this Cullen Bunn title was rumored to be optioned. These rumors helped it hit a high raw sale of $30 and $60 for CGC 9.8. 3 years later, this rumor was never confirmed. However, in 2020, Boom announced a first look deal with Netflix, and this title was mentioned in the press release as one of Boom's fan favorite series. With the Netflix deal still in place, the book hasn't bottomed out. However, the lack of news has let it drop to $15 in a near mint raw copy, $56 for 9.8. This is a bust. However, if you believe in this title, it would increase with an official announcement, though it's a gamble right now. And it is, but again, you're under $75 for 9.8. Why not? It's not a terrible investment. Where are we? Number 6. This is Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars number 8. 3 years ago, this classic cover started escalating in price with a surge of volumes sold. In 2019, the first Venom film from 2018 was a huge hit and ignited fans in his original origin. Donny Cates was writing Venom and was one of the hottest characters in comics, and even then, rumors swirled that the Secret Wars in development for the MCU. Not to mention, it's one of the most iconic and heavily homaged covers from the Copper Age. Regardless of the reason, it sold a ton of copies this time in 2019 with a near mint raw trending at $75 with a high sale of $324 for 9.8. 3 years later, this book is still moving for all those reasons behind it in 2019. However, it's jumped significantly to its current near mint raw value of $228, $646 in a 9.8. It's a big boost 3 years later, though it's worth noting that in 2022, it had an all-time high in a 9.8 of $1,020. While prices have settled since, it's one of the most consistent and steady aftermarket sellers. Everyone's got to love a Secret Wars number 8, Origin of the Black Suit, newsstand copy, direct copy, great cover, great story. And again, we know that Secret Wars is coming. Avengers, 3, 4, 5? Avengers 5 is Secret Wars, right? 4 is Kang Dynasty. Watch out for this book. This is one of those solid keys. It's just a solid key. Let's go to number 5. The Walking Dead number 191. This book was on fire 3 years ago as it ended with a cliffhanger of Rick's possible demise in issue 192. It was a huge surprise to comic community, sending all Walking Dead fans rushing to their comic shops to read about this end. At this point, retailers ordered a fraction of what they ordered in its pre-100 issues. So, by issue 191, comic stands only had a handful available and were able to keep up with the demand of folks. They weren't, I'm sorry. Just trying to read it. Eager to get ahead of 192, most fans have turned to online sales to buy a copy, pushing raws to $20. And a few weeks later, a $90 9.8. 3 years later, we know now that Rick did in fact perish in number 192. It was a massive surprise to both Rick and the series. Fans were not prepared. However, with trades available and everyone who wanted to read it has done so, raw prices have fallen to $8 with a recent 9.8 sale as low as $30. That is a bust. So if you guys want this book in a 9.8, just go buy it because it's cheaper than it would cost to send it out and possibly get a 9.6. Let's go to number 4. This is Venom Lethal Protector number 4. 3 years ago, Donny Cates has helped move this issue due to his new series, Absolute Carnage, having a tie-in title, Scream, Daughter of Venom. Scream's first appearance is in this issue, trending at $15 and had a high sale of $80 for CGC 9.8. 3 years later, prices have surprisingly held at its current fair market value of $16 with a near mint, and 9.8's going for about $90. This could be due to the overall Venom fandom, Scream's regularly appearing in Venom books, and supported by long-running speculation of her eventual cinematic appearance. This is a boost, and we talk about this a lot. Like, if you can get a solid first appearance in a CGC 9.8 for under 100 to 125, why not? This is just your classic 90s book. Massive print run, guys. Massive. Let's go to number 3. This is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the Freshman Force Who Dis One Shot. Politics aside, this title's heat was purely driven by a cease and desist order from DC to Devil's Due. AOC as Wonder Woman really bugged DC, and their cease and desist was the sole reason it went crazy in price to a high of $1,004 for a near mint raw. Today, 3 years later, there are a ton of unlicensed Wonder Woman looking covers that don't receive these letters, but getting this attention in 2019 helped it a ton. 3 years later, it's a bust at its current near mint fair market value of $400. However, that's still a solid price that it would have never hit without the drama. It currently sells for $700 in a 9.8, and it proves to be quite scarce. Who's going out and buying this book? Come on. Come on. Really? Let's go to number 2. War of the Realms, New Agents of Atlas, number 2. And back to Swordmaster's first full appearance, where this standard cover had a high sale of $20 and a few weeks later at $60 for 9.8. 3 years later, Swordmaster is still very popular and is the current Iron Fist, though his last issue was in August of 2022. That helped boost his value to its current $33 for a near mint raw, $98 for 9.8. However, while a boost, it did hit an all-time high of $350 for a 9.8 in February of 2022. However, 3 years later, this FOMO book has proven that it was worth picking up in 2019. As previously noted, there's still plenty of room on this book. Guys, I remember going to my LCS weeks after this book dropped, and there was a stack of them. And normally I don't go and buy stacks of books at the LCS, but it was weeks later, way later. They might have actually been it might have been months later. It was issue 3 and 4. I think issue 4 was out, and I'm like, why do you still have so many of issue 2? This is first Swordmaster. I ended up buying them all, and I never sent any to CGC, but I have a stack of them. And it's just, for cover price, why not? All right, we've got one book left. Before we get into it, I want to remind everybody in the description down below, use that Covrprice link. Don't forget to give Covrprice a follow here on YouTube as well. They put out great content. Yeah, that's it. All right, here we go. Our number 1 book from 3 years ago is Miles Morales Spider-Man number 6. Features the first full appearance of the character Starling, who is the granddaughter of the Vulture. Her appearance helped hit a high raw sale of $17, and a few weeks later, $60 for 9.8. 3 years later, fans and speculators love the character and is a fun supporting character to Miles Morales. It's currently trending at $40 for near mint, $87 for CGC 9.8. As noted for many titles on this list, it's also had an all-time high in 2021. Prime COVID period, where it hit $209 for 9.8. This remains to be a steady favorite for comic fans with or without the content. It's just a great book. And again, guys, you have an opportunity to get a first appearance character in a CGC 9.8 for under $1 to $1.25. That's kind of my threshold. 100 to 125, first appearance, 9.8. You could spend $500, which is a lot of money. Please, it's a lot of money. I get it. But you can get most of this list in 9.8 for $500. Most of this list. No, you can't. That's a little low. Less than $750, maybe $750, most of this list. $500 gets you quite a few, though. Let's be honest. All right, let's wrap this thing up here. While many of these titles had much bigger sales than today's current prices, it's important to note that those all-time highs are often wildcard sales, and just a handful at that. The key factor here is how they did in 3 years. And for this list, it's pretty much all up. This proves that FOMO can be managed and even turn out well for characters that you and the market believe in. Heck, in this case, even buying at the top of the market in 2019 was a good investment, and at worst, break even. So if you want that hot book of the week, go get it. It's not all doom and gloom. Just try to pay cover price. And with that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Give Covrprice a follow. Again, use the link down in the description. Get yourself a discount. Sign up. Try it out. It's awesome. And as always, keep it comics.